Hey, I'm Lara. Welcome to 3 producers flip 1 sample, except all 3 producers are me. I'm flipping Vienna Teng's Never Look Away, and I'm doing it on a program that I've never used before this project, which is Ableton Live, on a 3-month free trial because we're in the middle of a pandemic. I totally stole this concept from Andrew Huang, music YouTuber. He's amazing. He does 4 producers flip 1 sample, except it's actually 4 producers, and it's really awesome. I'm going to be taking you through the process of how I made these 3 tracks. We're going to be starting with the first one, Come Back. If you want to skip straight to listening to my music, you can check out YouTube, SoundCloud, or on my blog. So, Loopy Loop, formerly titled Come Back. Vienna Teng very helpfully released all the different mix stems of Never Look Away on her Bandcamp, aka like the vocal line and the harmony line and the piano line and the percussion and all of that. Which has made my life so much easier. I watched a lot of videos on how to use Ableton and spent a few days just messing around, but finally kind of got the hang of it. Downloading all the different tracks, taking out individual clips that I thought sounded interesting. The first line I loved was an effects percussion line. It sounded like this. And I slowed that down and made that the very beginning of my track. The next thing that I thought would be fun is this harmony line that sounds like this. So what I did was slowed it down, transposed it down, and just played around with the beats feature on warp until I found one that sounded kind of cool. And I can change this 116 or... yeah. Near the very end of the song, there's this vocal line that goes, "Come back to me and hold on to me, you know that I won't lie." And I just took the "come back to me" and the "hold on to me" and turned it into this line. Come back to me. And then doubled. So we've got a harmony going on there. And later on, come back, come back, come back, come back, come back. Pull on, pull on, pull on, pull on, pull on. There was a lot of extra sound, like in the sample, but I thought it worked. Come back, come back, come back, come back, come back. Pull on, pull on, pull on, pull on, pull on. So what else do we have going on here? Well, we have this bass drum, which I love because it was not a bass drum. It's originally this stab sound. Adding an EQ. Full disclosure, I did not know what many of these things meant before I started. I just kind of added them from the audio effects part in the side and messed around until they sounded cool. Here's the frequency shifter, which is awesome. And here's just muffling in a bit, the auto filter. Yeah. So that's the bass drum. And we have other lines going on there too, a bass line and harmonies, which I also just took from different parts of the song and pitch shifted them until I was happy with them. And then I sidechained them to the bass drum. You might ask what sidechaining is. Yeah, I didn't know either. I searched it up, and Ableton had 2 very helpful blogs on it, which was great. Instead of trying to explain, I'm just going to show you what it sounds like without sidechaining. So here's the bass and the harmony. Here is with sidechaining. As best as I understand, it's a compression, so it pushes down the track when the one that you've sidechained it to, so the bass drum is loud, and then it lets the harmony go loud again when the bass drum is quiet. So I took the words "come back," turned it into another melodic line. You can tell I come from a classical music tradition, hey? Sounds like, come back, 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 back. Slow down the clips, transpose them into different pitches. Here's what it's like without the filter. This is my favorite sound in the whole track. found a part of the song, Never Look Away, that sounds like it's been reversed. Here's what it sounds like. I reversed it back. I then isolated one of those piano hits using Ableton's sampler, so I can play notes using my keyboard. Then I entered the MIDI and added some effects to it without effects. It sounds like an organ, which I love. And here's what it sounds like with effects. And then I just put those two on top of each other. Yeah, that's all the interesting stuff. So what I wanted to do for the second song was write something more singer-songwriter style, which is what I'm more familiar with. I looked at the lyrics of Never Look Away and cut out the lines that I enjoyed and tried to stick it back together into a new song, which is what I came up with, and I'm pretty happy with it. The first line of my song is this. I want to witness the beauty of your repair. And I wanted to auto-tune it to sound like, I want to witness the beauty of your repair. So I searched it up, I found out there are auto-tune plugins that I could pay for. I didn't want to pay for any, so I looked for free ones instead. And eventually, after like 3-4 hours, figured out something that I was happy with. Here's what it sounds like, bit by bit. I want to witness the beauty of your repair. I want to witness the beauty of your repair. Just cutting the reverb out. I want to witness the beauty of your repair. Here we have a MIDI line, which is the melody that I wanted, which I can send to this plugin, G-Snap. I want to witness the beauty of your repair. I found a synth line and made a beat from the bass drum and a snare drum. In the pre-chorus, we have the A from before, except it's pitch shifted. And then a bunch of effects added. And then I layered quite a few of those to make this harmony. That brings us to the chorus. I realized the chord progression I had in mind was actually a chord progression from Never Look Away. So I took a synth part and then reversed every single line. It gives this really forward momentum. With the vocals, I doubled them, so we have and then as we go further into the chorus, I laid it with these vocoder harmonies. And take you home. And take you home. And take you home. And take you home. Then in the last section of the song, I have this line, which I added a vocoder to with the noise carrier, and here's what it sounds like. Which I then doubled with a vocoded note. Yeah, that's it. The third track, Keep Trying. It's actually called Keep Trying because I was so tired of Ableton. It'd been 10 days or something, but it fits really well. Everything in this track is made out of vocal lines, except for like one thing at the end. But everything else, which I'm very proud of. So the first thing I did is I exported the A line, which turns out is my favorite, into Ableton's sampler instrument. improvised on it for a while recording, made some chords. I neatened them up and added the EQ and auto filter. Here's what it sounds like without that. Yeah, sounds like an organ. I love it. I think my favorite is this one instrument that I've pitched up 10 cents to sound out of tune. Because together it's a brighter sound. The next section was using the organ sounding thing again. I stole a trick from Andrew Huang, took the first half of the chord, copied it, reversed it, so that it's leading into the next one each time. Added a bass drum and some reverb. And some flurry effects using a similar technique to the first song I made. I decided it would be fun to have that switch between that section and some of the chorale from earlier. I've just got it up high here in 2 instruments. And then it cuts in and out. I then felt that that section was still a bit empty, so I went back to my playing around over here and actually realized that one of my kind of improvisations sounded really good over the top of it. Completely out of time, but yeah, I didn't expect it. I'm pretty happy with the end result. Then I neatened that up and tried to make it sound like a string instrument by detuning a little bit and adding all these oscillating sounds. And the final thing, which I'd love to talk about, is the beginning. It's the A harmony, once again. It's been in every single track so far, except I was messing around with the auto filters and I came up with something that sounded like this. As you can see, it's moving down the harmonic series, which is awesome. Just using the different frequency on the auto filters. I also discovered that the frequency was great for producing these kind of radio sounds. And I added it together with the whispering effect from earlier, which makes this sound. The very last part of the song, I wanted to kind of phase in a bit of the end of Never Look Away. So I took individual tracks, lead, harmony, synths, and I displaced them slightly out of time. So we've got 136 BPM, 134, 128, 137. These synths are the only thing in the whole track that isn't made from vocals. Oh, and I also made this wind sounding thing by just pitching down some of the vocals and adding the noise vocoder. Here's what the vocals sound like. Here's the vocoder. There's an overdrive to make it a bit weirder. Yeah, we're done here. Go check out my music if you haven't already. I'm really proud of it. As an inspiring music educator, this has given me so many skills, which I'm so keen to use in a classroom setting. And if this kind of production or any other skill isn't really your thing, but you want to check it out, go get a free trial and just try. It's a lot of fun. That's all. Have a lovely evening.